Ukraine issues warning to Moscow residents, expect more, daily attacks.
Here's a summary of the article.
Kyiv has warned those living in Moscow to expect more attacks, adding the Russian capital's air defenses appear incapable of protecting its citizens as the drone war between the two countries continues to escalate. After a dramatic increase in Ukrainian attacks in recent weeks, Andriy Yusov, spokesperson for Ukrainian military intelligence, told Kyiv Post that the concept of security is increasingly distant from the residents of Moscow. He added, perhaps this trend will lead the residents of Moscow to some correct conclusions, whether or not to believe Russian television and Russian propaganda, and whether or not to continue to support the criminal regime. Yusov's comments came shortly after an explosion was reported on the Karamaishevskaya embankment near Moscow on Friday morning. Russia's defense ministry later said it had destroyed a Ukrainian drone over the western outskirts of Moscow, the latest in a growing number of aerial attacks on the capital. While Moscow has been launching drones since October with decreasing effectiveness due to Ukraine's ever-improving air defenses, Kyiv has only recently started attacking Moscow, which has appeared largely unprepared to defend itself. In Moscow on Friday morning, Artemy Duzilov, a 21-year-old tech student who biked with a friend to see where the drone had fallen, told AFP, "Drones are flying yet again above Moscow."
This post received a score of 18,000, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Stay tuned for more daily attacks.
Expect more daily attacks.
Ukraine in the beginning. We don't want to make the Russian population feel threatened. Make them see that we are good neighbors who are undergoing an injustice. Help us, fellow citizens. 1+ years of Russian apathy. Ukraine now. Fuck em.
I think America would assume Canadians would be like, yo WTF, if Trudeau invaded America. But it turns out that comfortable citizens are total chicken shits. You have to have skin in the game. That's the one lesson I've figured out in life. Ukraine had that day one, and now Russia is finding out. I do think Canadian citizens would be pissed off at their own government about it.
I don't actually agree with this. I think Canadians would be appalled, because they haven't been propagandized and taught that they deserve sovereignty over their neighbors. Even in the reverse case where America invaded Canada, I think Americans would object despite the low realistic risk of retaliation. After all, the anti-Iraq war movement was pretty loud, if ineffectual, and Iraq was about as foreign as a country can be.
You can be appalled, in silence, but I thought his point was that until it's at your doorstep, even if they disagree, not many people are going to get up and take any real action to stopping it. Protests, strikes, guerrilla tactics, etc.
Cynicism needs some sort of historical happening to back it up.
My favorite bit of all this is Russia consistently being like, Russia, oh that's it, you've done it now, Ukraine. Now I'm going to, Ukraine, continue to bomb our cities like you have been since day one? Russia, yes?
Russia gonna hit those missile launch buttons even harder. That'll show those civilians and women, children, sleeping in their apartments.
Because they know they cannot really hit military targets anymore. Hell, they can't even really hit the civilians ones either. The air defense of Ukraine makes that nigh impossible.
Greater than the air superiority of Ukraine air defenses? No one has air superiority in theater.
I know Russian incompetence is a meme, and expected at all times at this point. But holy shit, I'm still shocked that Ukraine managed to contest the airspace at all after a week, let alone a year and a half into the invasion.
After Russia didn't gain air superiority in the first week, they were fucked. It's way less surprising now that Ukraine has Patriot batteries, Iris-T, Stormer, Stingers, and all sorts of donated ex-Soviet anti-air. The fact Russia couldn't perform SAD and was hitting old radar positions with faulty intel was an immediate nail in the coffin for their hopes of a quick war.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.